Algebra 2, Lesson 68, Scientific Calculator, Scientific Notation, Powers, and Roots. So we'll be using our scientific calculators to help us solve scientific notation problems and then exponent and root problems. But before we use our calculator, it's good to get it's good to find an estimate of your answer before you start working, so that way you can tell whether or not you've made a mistake with your calculator instead of just blindly punching in numbers and accepting the answer. I think a couple of you have even noticed on some of my videos where I do use the calculator, since I'm pressed for time, that if you hit one wrong button, which I've done in the past, it'll change your answer, and sometimes it's pushing a 6 instead of a 9, or not hitting that decimal point button hard enough to where it registers, and then you're dealing with whole numbers instead of decimals. In any case, it's good to estimate before you start using your calculator. So let's go over here to our first problem. So this is a scientific notation problem, and I'm going to go ahead and start my estimation in green here. So let's start by moving the decimal point to behind the 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Since I'm going to the left, I'm making a big number small. I'm going to add 4 there. So this can simplify to 4 times 10 to the power of negative 4 over, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 again, 2 behind the 3. That's going to be over 3 times 10, and since I moved to the right where I made a small number big, I'm going to subtract 4. So that's 10 to the power of 11. From here to estimate, let's see here, I just use my calculator. 4 divided by 3 is 1.3, so that's going to give me 1.3 times 10. If I move this to the numerator, that becomes 10 to the power of negative 11. Negative 11 and negative 4 becomes negative 15. So my estimate, I'll write that a little bit neater, 1.3 times 10 to the power of negative 15. So now that I've got my estimate, I'm going to go ahead and grab my calculator and start doing the work. Now, before you start doing scientific notation problems, it's very important that you put your calculator in the correct mode. And that's going to be in scientific notation mode. So before I start even typing in the problem, I'm going to hit this second or the shift button, and then up here where it says sci/engineering, I hit that button. I'm going to use my arrow key to go to scientific notation, and then I hit the equal sign or enter. I'm now in scientific notation mode. From here, I'm just going to enter the problem as I see it on the paper into my calculator, but I'm going to insert my scientific notation portions inside of parentheses. So I'm going to type starting parenthesis 40625 times number 10. Then I'm going to hit this upward caret to do the exponent. The exponent is going to be negative 8, end parenthesis. From here, fractions are the same as division, so I'm going to hit divided by, starting parenthesis, 0.000324 times 10 caret, or upward house thing, that raises you to the exponent of 15, end parenthesis, enter. Now, when I hit enter, my answer is going to come out in scientific notation, and then I will always round to the hundredths place. So 3 rounds 5 down to stay at 5, so I have 1.25 to the power of negative 15. So my actual answer being 1.25 times 10 to the power of negative 15. And I see that matches my estimation. My estimation was only off by 5 hundredths of a number. So my actual answer is right there. Let's go ahead and do one more example. Okay, we have our next problem. I've already done the estimation to save some time, and this time we'll be using the Casio style calculator, if that's the one you have. Again, we need to make sure that we put this calculator in scientific notation mode before we begin solving the problem. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit shift and then mode or setup. From here we have a list of options. And you'll see normal is 8. You'll need to know that to get back into normal mode. But we see number 7 says SCI, or scientific notation, so we'll press 7. From there it says scientific notation 0 through 9 question mark. All it's asking you is to press number 0 through 9 to confirm. So I press one of those numbers. It's now in scientific notation. So again, shift, setup, 7, and then any number after that. So now once I'm in scientific notation, I'll go ahead and start entering the problem as I see it here. Really quick, my estimation yielded that I would get 1.2 times 10 to the power of 8. Originally it said 12 times 10 to the power of 7, but I had to move that back into scientific notation. So my estimation says my answer should be around 1.2 times 10 to the power of 8. Now let's type in the problem. The problem being negative 40,652 times 10 to the power of negative 8 times 0.000324 times 10 to the power of 15. So as I start typing this in, I think I need to zoom out again. Okay. I'm going to start with the parenthesis up here. So I hit left parenthesis. Then I'm going to press the negative button, which is up here. And then 652 times 10. Now instead of there being a caret or an exponent raising button, we have this X with a block up to it. We press that. That puts us in our exponent mode. Then we're going to push negative 8. Now the interesting thing is you might find yourself being stuck in this exponent mode. I can't type anything else normal until I hit this right arrow key. Once I hit the right arrow key, it puts me back into the base numbers. If I don't press that right arrow key, then I get stuck in the exponent. So just that's something to be aware of on the Casio calculator. So press right after you enter the exponent. You're going to hit the closing parenthesis multiplied by starting parenthesis 0.000324 times 10 exponent button 15 right arrow key end parenthesis. And then I hit equals. It gives me the answer of 1.317 times 10 to the power of 8. Now, again, we're going to round to the hundredths place. So, that 7 is going to round the 1.31 to 1.32. Oh, I forgot there's a negative. So, negative 1.32 times 10 to the power of 8. And that fits our estimate pretty well because I just realized I forgot to put a negative on my estimate, so that would make all of these negative. So negative 1.2 times 10 to the power of 8 is really close to that estimate. So that's for scientific notation. That's how we use each of those calculators in them. Last thing for the Casio calculator, how to get it back into normal mode. Once you're done with your scientific notation problem, you hit Shift, Setup, 8 for normal, and then it will say 1 or 2 to confirm. So now I press number 1 or 2. It puts me back in normal mode, and you'll see the answer is now in a traditional numerical format. So that's scientific notation. Now let's talk about powers and roots. Let's see here. I need some blank page. And let me set up the next problem. Okay, so these are exponent problems. And we have 9.26 to the power of 4.58, and then we have the 3.28th root of 50.42. The way we would estimate these is a little bit different. Here we would use, well, we'll start here. So we just round. We'd round this down to 9. We'd probably round that up to 5. So then we just estimate 9 to the power of 5. Which if we use our calculator, we'll just type 9 exponent 5 equals. So this estimate should be somewhere around 59,049. So that's our estimate here. For here on the cubed root, let's just look at our cubed numbers. Like for example, we know that 2 cubed is going to equal 8. 3 cubed is going to equal 27, 4 cubed is going to equal 64. So this should be somewhere in between 3 to 4. That's our estimate. So we should get a decimal number somewhere in between 3 and 4. Now that we've got our estimates out of the way, let's go ahead and use our calculators to solve these. Now for Texas Instruments, all we have to do is take the number 9.26, hit that exponent button, type in 4.58, enter, and oh, I'm still in scientific notation mode, aren't I? And I get 26,734.88. Let me see here. Yep, that's correct. So for this one, I get 26,734.88. Now that's a little bit off my estimate. Now remember, I did round my exponent up to 5. Let's see what happens if I did 9 to the power of 4. Huh, that gives me 6,561. Strange. Okay, so estimates on these exponents might not be so great. I guess you'll have to trust your calculator on those. Let's see if the estimate works out over here for the root. Now, in order to do roots on the Texas Instrument, we have to focus in on, where is it? This button right here, or the shift version of the exponent. You'll see a little radical with an X in there. Well, you'll see it better on your actual calculator, but we're going to focus in on that button. So what we'll do for this one is we'll just start typing it as we see it. Oh, I'm out of focus again. So we'll start by typing the 3.28. So I type in 3.28, then I'm going to hit the second button, and then that exponent button, which is the same as that, or the shift button, and then that exponent button, and then I can type in 50.42, enter. That gives me an answer of 3.304, which just rounds to 3.3. 3.3 or 3.30 if you really wanted to. And that fits our estimate. So that one's correct. Both of these answers are definitely correct. Not sure why the exponent is coming up so weird. I wonder if that 0.2 makes that much of a difference. Let's estimate 9.3 to the power of 5. What does that get us? Let's do 9.3 to the power of 4. Okay, well, that seems a little bit closer. I don't know. I guess there's a big variation with these decimals. So estimation probably not going to work so great on these exponent numbers. It'll still work on these roots. Now, let's say you have the Casio calculator. Let's see how these work out with this model. So for the exponent, again, going to be pretty simple. We'll start with our base number, 9.26. So I'll go ahead and I'll enter 9.26. For the exponent, I'm going to press this X box button, and then I'm going to type in 4.58, enter, and it gets me the same answer. Now, the radicals, we have to look right above our X, our exponent button. It's in the same location. We've got that radical with the box again. So I'll clear and I'll type in my root number, which is 3.28. Then I hit shift, that exponent button, and it puts that number into the radical, and now I can type the base number of 50.42, enter, and I get 3.304 or 3.30, which was the same number we got there. So a little bit of calculator work. Hopefully you guys fast forwarded through the calculator you don't use. And if you have any questions, let me know on Moodle, and I'll see you in class.